Dating is hard for everyone. Don't forget, date a trans woman.
If you're transgender, say you're transgender on dating apps. Don't go in there without including that in your fucking bio. I took this girl out on a date who happened to be trans, and she didn't tell me shit beforehand at all. It wasn't in her bio, nothing. By the time I got there, I had to find out the fucking hard way, and I dipped. But bro, I don't care. Live your life however the fuck you want. It's not my life. Do whatever you want. But don't be tricking motherfuckers to take you out on a date without telling them that you're trans. That's a pretty fucking important thing to include.
Wow. Okay, so there you go. Dudes are telling you, trans women, not all trans women, but a lot of you somehow think you don't have to disclose that you're a trans woman, i.e., a male, before you go on a date with a dude, even a chick, okay? But most of the time, women aren't going to be so upset about it and I'm going to do a whole video on dating trans men next, but the fact that you think it's okay not to tell somebody the situation before you go and wonder why they get pissed off at you and then they won't date you or they keep it a secret, that's why, because you're not being honest. You're a male. You're not a female. You're not a woman, okay? You're a trans woman. You might still have the anatomy of a male, okay? That's going to freak out some dudes. Some dudes are going to actually seek you out because they want to have the male anatomy, okay? That's a whole other thing. But I don't know what you are seeking or what you're looking for. And the victimize it, how you make and how you make yourself such a victim around dating is so embarrassing. Just stop. Just stop. And just be yourself, be who you are. I mean, I know tons of trans women who have no problem dating, okay? And they realize by disclosing and being honest about it, they're going to get the guys who actually want to date them. You're not going to get guys who want to date you when you do shit like that and you lie to a dude on a dating app and then he shows up and he gets fucking pissed off about it and then you blame them that they're the transphobes. Come on, man. Okay. Today we're going to talk about dating in the trans world. I've never had a problem getting a date. But that being said, I have to tell you that being a trans man and being a trans woman are two different things. Also, I've always been honest about it. And that's why I'm going to do a video on the trans man thing, because that's a whole other thing I want to talk about, and how everyone is so obsessed with their sort of sexuality identity, right? I'm not gay if I date a trans woman. In my opinion, you might not be gay, but you're 100% bisexual for sure. You're not straight. You're not straight if you date a trans person, okay? Even a woman is not straight if she dates a trans man, okay? You have male and females. That's bisexual. There's nothing wrong with that. There's just a stigma around being bisexual. Anyway, thanks for subscribing to the video. Oh, we're growing so fast. And thanks for subscribing to my TikTok. That's actually moving along. And thanks for all the support with the channel. Truly, truly appreciate it. But let's move on because I have some good stuff to show you today. Wow, there's so much of it on TikTok. It's crazy.
So the first time I ever dated a straight guy, I actually didn't tell him I was trans until after our third date. I met him actually at this music festival that was quite small. And through unfortunate circumstances, the person I was supposed to go with ended up not coming. And
why are you talking like that? And why? Okay, well, I have to make fun of the way you're talking because it's actually annoying and weird, and I wouldn't date you just because of that. Not because you're a trans woman. But anyway, that being said, you didn't disclose, and it goes on and on and on. It's a long-ass video, and it goes on about why they didn't disclose and the excuses of why they didn't disclose, and they felt like they didn't need to disclose. But after the third date, they decided to disclose, and the guy was actually really nice about it and blah, blah, blah. But what if he wasn't? What if he wasn't nice about it? And what if he got pissed off about it? And what if? Do you care about that? Do you actually care about the other person? And, no, you don't. You only care about yourself and your own feelings, which is so prevalent in this new trans community. It's all about you. You. My feelings. Everyone hates me. Everyone's a transphobe. Everyone's a bigot. Not taking any responsibility for your own self and your own way of being. It's everyone else's fault that you're trans and that the world hates trans people and that men won't date you. Watch, the theme here is that the reason why they don't disclose they're trans is because they feel like they won't get a date. So instead, they're going to lie about it. Wow. Just wow. That's a great way to start off a relationship by lying.
So this past weekend, I went on a date with a guy and I didn't disclose that I was trans. So I don't think I need to tell someone my transition, not until I know for sure we're gonna lock in and be serious. So we went on a date and it went perfect, ending everything. I mean, I'm so beautiful, you cannot clock me. Like, I have been on estrogen, I'm on testosterone blockers. Like, I'm very T, I'm very feminine. So when I disclosed that to him, because the date didn't go well, so I was like, you know what, let me tell him I'm trans so he can like leave me alone. He wanted me even more. And that just goes to show, like, these men don't care if you're a woman or a trans woman. They're gonna just be attracted to your femininity.
So what? So either way, like, wow, just wow. So you're not going to tell them until after you realize you're going to get more into this situation. And that's how you're going to start out in the relationship. So then when he gets mad at you for not being honest about the fact that you're actually a male, you're going to get pissed and call him a transphobe. But now, because you did do it, and now he won't leave you alone because you're so T and you actually look like a real woman, whatever. Anyway, that being said, you're like all trying to get rid of him, and it just proves that they still want you. I mean, the mixed messages going out there from these trans women who are so obsessed with the fact that they can't date, or men only want to date them for sex. Duh, you're on a dating app. My God, dating apps are not for dating. Dating apps are for sex. Just so you know, they just call it a dating app. I mean, really? Are you that dumb that you don't even realize going on a dating app is for hookups? And you know, because you're a dude, and you know what dudes do. Dudes do things differently than women do things. So if you're gonna go on a dating app, you first off better realize it's for a hookup, and secondly, you better realize they might just want to have you for one night, and that's it. And that's it. So wow, just do I really have to explain that to you?
This is going to be a very hard video for me to make because I don't really talk about my personal life on here, and especially my transition, but I need to rant about how difficult it is to date while trans and want to seriously date when most of the times you're just looked at as an experiment. Since I've moved to New York, and I've never been in a relationship before. I've never really been able to have close relationships with men at all without them, like, ending in some sort of traumatic event or whatever. Like, it's just not been it. All of my friends are women, mostly trans women, because those are the people that understand me the most. But besides that, I try my best to, like, either put myself forward or act in a certain way or act myself. And it just always seems like no matter who I talk to, it always ends up that they want like they want to reproduce, you know? I don't know what I can say and can't say on here, but it is so difficult. Like, even I've tried every single dating app. I don't really go out in person, but I try in person, you know, to like put myself out there, whatever. So I mostly use dating apps. Every time, like, if on Tinder, you can look at, like, you can filter by sexuality, which is great because I can see, like, people who are bisexual, who are into me, because that's a whole other side. But
no, it isn't.
Most of the times that I'm on there, you can see, like, what they're looking for. I'm looking for a long-term, serious relationship. I want something steady, or just explore that. I want normal dates. I don't want hookups.
You're on a dating app looking for a long-term relationship, and then not understanding why dudes only want you. You are a biological male. Don't tell me you don't understand. That's where I'm going to call you out. You know damn well dudes are all about hooking up for sex, okay? That's a real effing thing. They are looking for you to have sex, as you say. And if you think otherwise, you're out of your mind. And if you're looking for a long-term relationship, I highly suggest... Not even going to say it. But look, just look. Tell me what kind of dude is actually going to go there. Seriously. Come on, man. I mean, your style is your style. It's all cool and stuff. But it's only going to be a specific kind of dude that's going to go after a woman or a trans woman. that looks like that. I mean, I know it sounds harsh, but I think I just need to be real about it. Your friends aren't being real to you. Your friends aren't being true to you. And the fact that you only hang out with trans women, why don't you date a trans woman? That's a question for reals. Why don't you just go to all you trans women out there who seem to be having a hard time finding a dude, and you just are so angry and pissed off about it, why don't you date another trans woman? There you go. How about that? So, because you're not a lesbian and you're looking for a dude, then date a trans man who looks like me, even though I'm not interested, so you know. I'm already taken. Plus, that's just not my style. Not that I dislike trans women. I love them, the ones I know, but nope, not my thing. And so that's the thing is, it's not my thing. I won't date a trans woman. I just won't do it. I just not my thing. I'm not going to say, I could just say so many things right now. Shut up, dude. Shut up.
It's very hard to date as a trans girl.
Okay.
It is very hard, and that's like maybe the most vulnerable thing I'll say today.
Yeah.
It's just because 95% of the men that I come in contact with who are attracted to me, who don't know whether it's a dating app or whether it's real life.
Who don't know. Seriously. That's the other thing. I think some of you live in this really weird delusional space. But I would know, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, but I actually would know that you were a trans woman. So I think sometimes maybe living more in a sense of reality, if you're not going to disclose immediately, knowing that they can sniff it out and they know, but you're not being honest about it. And maybe they're not being honest about knowing about it because they just want to have sex.
They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care. The problem is everyone else's perception.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I'll hook up with you. Yeah, we can do this. Yeah, we can make this an ongoing thing. But I won't tell your fucking soul because my family will kill me. My friends will think I'm a clown. And like,
Wow.
what does that make me?
Yeah.
What does that make me? That makes me hardly a human being.
It's so fucked up.
And it's not even me. It's the fear
Yeah.
of the judgment and
They
the perception.
care so much what other
It's
people
just
think.
so beyond because you know what brought us to that point? Society and
Duh.
TikTok and social media. It's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Because I felt like this since I was 8 years old when I got caught in a sushi restaurant typing, "Am I a transsexual?" and got my fucking ass whipped.
So I just want to say that, it's a lot of things. The reason why people don't want to, or men, let's just use men, because most of these trans women are interested in men, and it's a thing. So they're doing it maybe on the down low, which we know there's a lot of men who are doing it on the down low. And everyone sort of perceives them as gay men. I necessarily don't. Okay. I think they're bisexual men, and I think that they're men. A lot of the men have families and a wife or a girlfriend, but they seek out a trans woman for a very specific thing, and it is a fetish. There's no doubt about it. Now, not all men who date trans women is a fetish, but it is a very big fetish. I know a lot about that. Okay, and so the fact being, and those are called, I don't even know if I can say it on YouTube. I might have to blurb this out, but you'll get the gist of what I'm saying here. Chaser. That's what they're called. They seek out trans women for a fetish, a sexual fetish, and then they don't want anything else to do with it. It's like hiring a prostitute or, seeking out a one-night stand. It's literally the same thing. It's a type. They seek out a type, but some of these trans women take it so offensively, then don't go on a date with them. But that's like the reality of the situation. You could just be a fetish. And that's that. And that being said, yes, some men aren't comfortable being in a relationship with you, but they're comfortable having a sexual relationship with you. So sometimes you're going to have to figure out what's best for you or them. And also respect people's preferences.
The reality is that most of the men who date trans women usually also date cis women, whether it's gay, straight, queer, or indifferent. We're still all fucking the same people. So if I'm fucking gay men, you're fucking gay men too.
Well, there you go. Just what I just said. So first off, I don't believe gay men are interested in trans women. 100%. I believe that's bisexual men who are also interested in what you call cisgender women. Some of them are married. Okay. So that being said, Yeah, you are. You are having probably the same situation happen, but those are bisexual men who are also into men as much as women. Doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure that one out. Like, come on, who cares? Also, I always feel like trans women are competing. It's a competition with women. Why are you making it a competition? If you don't make it such a competition, like you're better than women, you have a better vagina than women, you can have sex better than women, you can do all, why is it a competition? That's why women don't want to necessarily support you. And the way you sort of just try to run over women as if you're better and you deserve to have all their spaces. I mean, I really think you should think about what I'm saying right there. And it might help to bridge the gap that seems to be getting wider and wider.
So my orientation literally changed when I got on HRT, and now I really like men. And it's really hard dating them, especially when I'm trans. Especially when I'm trans. That's all I got.
See, I told you. There you go. Another one. Wah. It's so hard to date as a trans girl. First off, you're not a trans girl. You're a woman. You're a trans woman. Well, you're not a woman. You're a man, but you're a trans woman. It's creepy to say you're a trans girl. Okay, so maybe that... One of the reasons why they don't want to date you, because they're not looking for girls, they're looking for women. And yeah, whatever about your sexual orientation changed, whatever that means, and that's a whole other video we can talk about. But that being said, oh my God, the woe is me, it's so hard. It's so hard. I told you, when you make the choice to transition, you better fucking think about what's going on here. Your whole life is going to change. And that's including relationships, the way you come to them, the way people come to you, dating apps. I think it's so funny that you're on a dating app looking for a relationship. And to even all the people who aren't trans, who are going on dating apps looking for relationships, you got to have a little bit of nuance there. You might meet somebody for the rest of your life. You might not, okay? But the majority, I think, in my opinion, people are on those apps to hook up, to have one-night stands, or maybe just to have a thing going on, very, casually.
Hey guys, so this is a quick public service announcement to men, specifically straight cisgender men that are talking to transgender women. If you're talking to somebody on a dating site, or you're talking to them and you plan on dating them, please don't ask what's in their pants, or please don't ask how big their penis is, or if they have a penis.
What?
Just don't do that, because that's extremely invasive and rude. I don't go on a date with a guy and the first thing I say is, so how big is your dick? Like, that's completely invasive. You don't say that to somebody, especially to somebody that's not comfortable with their genitals at all, which, I mean, if you can put two and two together, you should figure out that a transgender woman, for the most part, wouldn't be comfortable talking about her genitals. Hello? I mean, some are, and if they are...
Oh my God, these people are so crazy. If they're asking if you have a penis... There's a reason why they're asking, because you kind of look like you might have a penis and you're not being open. If all you trans women were just straight up, I'm a trans woman, okay? And then I'm a post-op or a pre-op. If you just would put that shit straight out there, bam, nobody would ever have to ask you if you have a penis, okay? Nobody would ever have to ask you, like, what's up? All of that stuff. And again, you're going to date on a dating app. These dudes are not looking for a date. They're looking for a hookup. And that's why they want to know if you have a penis or you don't have a penis, because they're not sure what they want to do in the hookup. My God. It's so funny. Okay. I just had to do this one because be prepared.
I feel like dating as a trans person already sucks, because like trans people are seen as this like category, like fetish, like they just want us for like a night, and they want to like get their fantasy and like their whatever the fuck. And so like nobody really takes trans women like serious. So when I moved here, I had already done that whole dating experience in Oregon, and it's, how people are like people who like don't want to be with you in public, and they're just like really fucking annoying. And so I gave up on dating here because I was just like, I'm not going to date. Imagine how hard it is like in LA. And then randomly like somebody hit me up, and through Instagram DMs, which is so disgusting. But so I entertained that for a little bit, but that literally just ended this last weekend. So
why? Just cause it wasn't working out?
It was more so like he's probably gonna end up watching this, so hi. But I think it was more so like he was more excited because like he knew who I was on social media.
Okay.
And so I think it was more so like, oh, I want to hang out. Let's hang out romantically. But it wasn't really romantically. It was more so like, I just want to hang out with this person and say I hung out with this person. And so like the whole time I kind of got like that weird vibe, like an off-putting vibe that he wasn't really into me. But I feel like the longer I talked to him, like the more I kind of became like obsessed with him, because like I talked to him every day, morning and night, like good morning, good night. So I entertained it for a bit, and like I feel like it just, the longer it went on, like the more it didn't feel right. And the last time we went out in like WeHo, and it was just like a shit show. So I was like, let me just flip my hair and go home.
My God, the victim-y attitude is so incredibly pathetic. Also, I don't think you needed to tell him you were trans. I don't know who you are, but you are a social media person. I have no idea who you are. But like, oh man, I just am so, it's the woe is me shit. I don't know if he really wanted to hang out with me. He was hanging out with you. He was actually hanging out with you. But I think he was only hanging out with me because so it's never good enough. Like, do you want him to hang out with you and like whatever happens, or you thinking and making accusations that he's only hanging out with you because you're a social media person? Like, do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's either damned if I do, damned if I don't kind of situation. Like, just chill and like be that. But nope. So no one, you didn't really have to disclose. I think it was kind of, sadly to say, obvious. Oh my God. All right, I'm just going to play this last one here because I thought it was funny.
I told my man I can never give you what a cis woman could give to you. He turns to me and he tells me a cis woman can never give me what a tranny like you can give. You guys, I'm in love.
Well, there you go. There you go. At least you're honest about it. And at least he's honest about it. He's seeking out a specific thing from a transgender woman, i.e. male, that a woman can't give you. Duh. We all know what that is. And so why don't you all just be so honest about it? The men who are going to date a trans woman are doing it for a specific... Women or men who are going to date somebody like me are specifically looking for something. It's the reality of it. I've never had an issue with that, and I don't really even fucking care. I might not like you, okay? So, like, that's the thing is, if you're living in some fantasy world that you're a better than a woman, or you're a real woman, or you're never going to get anything you want. And that's why I'm so irritated with this transgender space, because they're trying to make everybody believe that there's something they are not, nor will they ever be. And I don't understand what happened to being honest, okay? I don't understand what happened to being proud. I thought you were all proud to be trans. I thought it was all about trans rights and trans joy. Where does that go when it comes to dating? How come there's no trans joy in dating? Or trans euphoria? All of a sudden that goes out the door and, everybody hates me and I'm not. You see? Why you can't, why you need to understand why everybody thinks they're mentally fucking ill, because you're acting like it.
So I just came out of the Supreme Court building where these two cases were argued. And I have to say that one of the things that is most shocking that I heard is that the petitioners, the lawyers who are against the trans people in this case, said that they want a constitutional definition of what biological sex is. And if that happens, that means that people are going to have to prove biological sex in order to guarantee basic constitutional protections. And that's going to change things for everyone. I mean, they were also making other arguments, such as saying that the size of the population that you are a part of should actually, in part, determine what your constitutional rights are, and if you even have the ability to be able to have standing before courts. Sort of these very wide-ranging arguments, which just goes to show, as we've been saying for years, that these arguments don't really have anything to do about trans people. They are about rewriting laws and norms through the back door using trans people. And it was just wild to sit through hours and hours of oral arguments today and hear that repeated over and over. We'll see what happens.
Wow. The complete, total, utter disregard for reality is mind-blowing. and how everything is about an attack on trans people. If you listen to the terminology they use, also the arguments they use are so insane, because the bottom line, it does come down to reality, and biology is reality. You, my friend, are a man who wants to be a woman. Transgender. That's what transgender is. Y'all keep saying that you're only 1% of the population. That is nothing. Why do you think you get to have more rights than the actual majority of the population? It has nothing, it's not an attack on trans people. You are the people attacking people. I'm a trans person. I am totally disgusted by you people who are supposedly the representation of trans people. It is so mind-blowing that this is now what trans is. You think everyone's attacking you. What about the girls and the women who don't get to play fair sports because you think 1% of the population is more important than 99%?
If it does that, then is it not necessary for there to be, for equal protection purposes, if that is challenged under the Equal Protection Clause, an understanding of what it means to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what is that definition? For equal protection purposes, what does it mean to be a boy or a girl or a man or a woman?
Sorry, I misunderstood your question. I think that the underlying enactment, whatever it was, the policy, the law, we'd have to have an understanding of how the state or the government was just understanding that term to figure out whether or not someone was excluded. We do not have a definition for the court, and we don't take issue with we're not disputing the definition here. What we're saying is that the way it applies in practice is to exclude birth sex males categorically from women's teams, and that there's a subset of those birth sex males where it doesn't make sense to do so according to the state's own interest.
Well, how can a court determine whether there's discrimination on the basis of sex without knowing what sex means for equal protection purposes?
I think here we just know that we basically know that that they've identified, pursuant to their own statute, Lindsay qualifies as a birth sex male, and she's being excluded categorically from the women's teams as the statute. So we're taking the statute's definitions as we find them, and we don't dispute them.
These people are completely insane. They're making the way that they're talking is trying to confuse you. Sorry, Judge Alito is not confused, and he's completely sitting there asking you a basic question of define a man and a woman, and you're telling you can't, but there's one part of that thing that you said that I heard, and you said trans women are a subset of men. You said it. And if that's the case, and then you're saying that they're being discriminated against for playing in women's sports. Yes, because they are a subset of men. They are not a subset of women, number one. Number two, there is a difference between a man or a woman, and why we have always distinguished them in sports, men's sports and women's sports. And I also want to keep reminding you all that you keep saying there's 1% of transgender people. Why are we destroying a whole group of people for 1% of people and telling that a little boy that he can be a little girl, and then putting them through all of this anguish in order to redefine sex? You're never going to redefine sex. It's never going to happen. And if you do redefine sex, you are now going to destroy what it even means to be a transsexual person, and you won't ever be able to help people who have literal gender dysphoria, because now you have destroyed the actual definition of biological sex, which is the whole reason why somebody is a transsexual.
Josh, what is your definition of sex?
I don't think that's what's at issue in this case. What's at issue in this case is fair treatment for all kids. Sorry.
The mics, please.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying, I don't think that's what is at issue in this case. What's at issue in this case is fair treatment for all people, including cis people and trans people. And that's what we're here to talk about today.
Why do you think it shouldn't be defined in this case? Sir.
So that's the attorney for the ACLU, obviously. Again, not defining what sex is and saying, and then they keep saying it's about fairness for cisgender people and trans people. No, it isn't. Because it was literally about fairness, okay? The majority wins. The majority wins because the majority is biologically women. It is not biological, transsexual or transgender people. It is biological women. They should be the ones winning in this case. You cannot stick a man or a boy in a woman's or a girl's sport. It is completely unethical and it is not fair.
What's your reaction to Joshua Block saying sex should not be defined?
That's completely bizarre. I don't know how you can decide a case interpreting sex under Title IX and under the Equal Protection Clause by not defining sex. Sex, when Title IX was passed, meant biological sex. The entire statute is written with biological distinctions. It even refers to each of the sexes. I don't know how the court can do that. And it says a lot that he felt and the ACLU felt they had to tell the court not to define sex in order for them to survive this case.
I heard you mention Justice.
Title IX is specifically about biological sex, is what he's saying here. How can you even have a case when you're not even defining what sex is? Okay, and then this is a lawyer for West Virginia saying that. Then ACLU is trying to get the court not to define what sex is. Because if they get the court not to define sex, they'll be able to say, see, told you, it doesn't matter that it's a little boy who became a little girl. Oh my God. Wow. It's just, I don't even know what to say. It's so disgusting. Okay, this is really great. This is really, really, really great.
The most troubling things that we saw is that the ACLU's argument is trying to create a class of people who would be who shouldn't be excluded in women's sports because they've transitioned at such a monumentally young age. And so what they were really saying is they conceded the Ninth Amendment case and they conceded the Equal Protection Clause case. But what they were saying is if you were to transition a child young enough to where they would be rendered not male anymore, that they should be allowed to play on women's sports teams. And I think that's a very concerning position to be taking for a myriad of reasons.
That's really important part of what he's saying there. Their argument also states that one of the cases, the young girl transitioned like in third grade, disgusting. And because of that, taking puberty blockers, he became a she. Okay, so they're trying to say that now, which is actually really, that's why also, if this case wins, it's very, very scary for kids because they'll use it as a means and a way to say that puberty blockers can change the sex of a child when we know damn well it doesn't change the sex of a child. So they're using that as an argument saying that this young trans girl, i.e. a boy, took puberty blockers at third grade so that they didn't go through puberty, which means that they're not really a boy anymore and that they don't have the strength of a boy, which is very, very concerning in this particular space because that's just not true. You can't change a boy into a girl or a girl into a boy. That is completely absurd.
The population, I think in your state it's less than 1% of the population. Is it surprising at all that this has garnered the attention it has, or is it not?
Not even a little bit. I'm actually standing outside of a convention hall with more than 1,000 people who are rallied in defense of women's sports. And I'm actually getting, to be fair, a little tired of being asked, is this worth it? It's only one person. Nobody's talking to the thousands of other girls whose spots on podiums and on teams and with the ability to learn the incredible lessons that sports teach girls, how to be leaders. And I just tonight listened to these leaders, these young women who are willing to stand up for their sport, right? And the leadership skills that they learned to be able to do what they're doing today were all learned on the playing field. And if you're to take the ACLU's arguments at face value, they would prevent all of those women from having those opportunities and becoming the leaders that I saw them be today.
You know, it's so crazy that this guy is so right. How come no one's talking to the girls? Only ever do I see the sports girls ever on more conservative stations. The liberal media has never spoken to women or girl athletes. They don't. They only speak to the trans athletes. It is so if you're just in a liberal mindset and you only watch MSNBC or CNN or PBS or whatever, you are just going to get that news. But if you actually expand your mind and try to find all the sources out there, you will see this is really a hit on women's sports. Bottom line, it is. Okay? You cannot put a boy in a girl's sports or a man in women's sports. It is just complete, total disregard for women and girls, period. It is the one thing I keep saying to you young trans people or trans activists. When you make this choice, because it's your choice, 100% your choice, okay? When you do that, you better be prepared that you will not get everything you want. Not only that, nobody gets everything they want, okay? You're not special because you're trans. You're not. You're not. You are just a person who feels a certain way and wants to supposedly move on with their life and create a better life, but it doesn't sound like that's really what's going on here anymore. It sounds like trans has become a movement.
I expect the Supreme Court to make the correct decision again, which is going to be a major marker for where we are ideologically. I'm here to tell you folks that the transgender movement is not a unified front with the position of the left in regards to the sports issue before the Supreme Court right now. I am trans. I'm a trans medicalist. I fully understand that every one of us are men who present feminine for various reasons. Me as a trans medicalist is because I have a medical condition. The truth of the nature is I'm still a man. The belief that gender is a social construct of a spectrum of free will, that is an ideation, a belief system, which is shared by a small minority. It's not even shared by the collective of the transgender movement. This is something I'm here to make this video to explain to you. In fact, if you want, you can even scroll this on app, and my own peers will explain to you that transgender is no longer a correctly diagnosed medical condition, but a social construct redesign. It is a ideation, a belief system for some. And I'm not saying one's right over the others. That's not what I'm trying to say here. But what I am trying to say is that in my belief system as a trans American, and which shares the majority belief system, is that gender is binary, that it is of two, that it's representative of sex. And I do believe, and I'm going to advocate, and I'm going to ask for you guys moving forward, and I'm going to stand with you, to start designating everything within society as sex-based, not gender. If we cannot...
Bam. There you go. I'm telling you, more and more transsexuals are coming out. Thank God. Thank God that these people have the balls to start standing up against the movement and the ideological space that is now called transgender. We need more and more of you who are willing to say, you cannot be trans without biology. That's really, it's the foundation. You're literally trying to remove the foundation and build your house on something that doesn't exist. It's not, the house won't stand. You're building it on sand or an illusion or some other kind of thing. And that's why these voices are so extremely important in this fight to get back to sex-based reality. I've been using the men's spaces forever. No one cared. Now I'm I'm just not going to go to the gym anymore because I just don't feel comfortable being put in these spaces because of the ideological space. And this person right here, I guarantee you they will not go. They look like a woman though. They could probably do the same, but they've made us our own movement, which it never was a movement. It was just a space for us to be comfortable in our bodies. So with that, I just want to say that, you see, I'm going to continue to fight for these young girls and women's sports. It means a lot to me. Sports was amazing. It did so many great things for me and my psyche when I wasn't feeling good about myself. And team sport and girls sports and women's sports are just very, very important for them. Sorry, if you are a trans kid or a trans woman, you're going to have to figure it out and you're going to have to find your own and create your own league. Okay. So that's just the bottom line. We can't play this game anymore. Okay. At the expense of women and children.
Hi friends. I've been meaning to make this video for a long time, but I can't. I mean, I can't. I just haven't because my ADHD ass can't do anything. I had a couple people ask me how I got on testosterone at 13.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am traveling right now, so luckily I brought my camera. I had a little family emergency that I'll be telling you all about later on. But with that, oh my gosh, I just, thanks to the people who send me these videos, because I just don't have sometimes the brain power to watch it all. But I appreciate you guys being concerned with these young people. And I'm gonna show you today that I just can't even believe that this is an actual person who is 13 years old who started, well, 14 now, but they started transitioning at 13. And you can just see the insanity of it all right here. So with that, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Thanks for helping me build this platform. Totally appreciate it. Wow, just wow. Okay, so let's get started with this first one right here.
Hi friends, I've been meaning to make this video for a long time, but I can't. I mean, I haven't. I just haven't because my ADHD ass can't do anything. I had a couple people ask me how I got on testosterone at 13, and, well, I'm going to tell you the whole annoying story, I guess. So, last year, I think it was around September or October, I had like a normal checkup appointment with my pediatrician, my doctor, and at that appointment, we basically talked to her and said, I'm trans, what can I do to get on hormones? Because Planned Parenthood near me doesn't do HRT for minors, so we had to do it through Kaiser, which is the thing I go to, I guess. I don't know how it works because I'm a teenager. Anyways, so after that, we got an appointment with a psychologist at Kaiser, and we had to have...
I'm going to pause right there because it's going to show you, I'm going to show you the whole platform and what this little 13-year-old is saying. I'm trans, I know it. Now they're going through this system called Kaiser, which is being sued by Chloe Cole and many other detransitioners. Okay, I will almost guarantee you this kiddo right here is going to detransition or be pissed when they get older. But the fact that they're going through some kind of medical system like Kaiser, okay, so I just want you to hear that. It's so annoying. And they also say, I don't really know what I'm doing. So remember, this is a 13-year-old. They don't know what they're doing. So these kids are relying on a supposedly safe, sane, and secure system called the medical system for transgender healthcare to go through it in order to get to the other side of transitioning at 13. Okay, so there.
We had to have like 4 appointments with her, doing a gender assessment, like basically proving that I'm trans enough. And it took a while, but we were eventually done, and we were going to get recommended to an endocrinologist, but we couldn't for a while because psychologists in my area were going on strike. So I don't even know what the whole situation was. I forget at this point, but it was kind of crazy. So by the time I got my endocrinologist appointment, which is hormone doctor, it was the next year, and they said that we had to retake the gender assessment because the one I'd finished like a month earlier technically wasn't valid because it was last year. It was 2024, which is really stupid. But I retook it that time with an actual gender therapist, which you're supposed to do, but for some reason I just went to a normal psychologist the first time. But that was really quick. It was only like 1.5 really short appointments that we finished the gender assessment because she's an actual professional that does that all the time, not just a normal therapist. No shade to Kaiser, I guess. And then my brain's stalling.
Okay, this is so important. So Kaiser had a psychologist evaluate this young person and for 4 appointments, which is still ridiculous. And then they went on strike. Awesome. So then this little kid had to wait. But you hear what's coming out of her voice? I wasn't trans enough. You see the language there? No, you're not trans enough until you figure out what's going on with you. So then they had to wait a whole year. Amazing. Awesome. Then they said this particular thing that is very important, and you'll connect all of this. They said they finally got to go to a gender affirmation therapist, which is somebody who affirmed them in 1 or 1.5 appointments or something, because they think that is the professional. They think that's the person that knows what they're doing, when the person before them was the actual person that was slowing them down. The affirmation therapist just put them through in one. They're spilling all the beans here and why this whole thing is so insane and so dangerous and indoctrinating these kids. They're brainwashed to think that that's the actual real therapist.
Yeah, so we got signed up for like a couple months later an appointment with an endocrinologist. And before that appointment, I had to get blood drawn to make sure all my hormone levels were normal and it was okay for me to start T, and everything was fine. So I did my appointment, had to convince more people that I'm trans again, and then eventually we did some more tests, like normal checkup stuff, and everyone was so kind and sweet and happy for me. It was a really positive environment there, like best medical experience I've ever had. And at that appointment, after a couple hours, a nurse showed me how to do my injection, and I did my first one there. I am now 3 weeks, 4 doses on T, and I'm very happy. And if anyone has questions, comment, and I will answer them. Hope this helps. Also, I forgot to say this. I have some more advice. You need to advocate for yourself. Because, like, there are going to be so many times when people are like, oh, we don't know if we're going to be able to start you now. We might have to wait a little longer. And no, you just have to stick up for yourself and say, I'm ready for this if you are ready. I know what I'm doing. I'm prepared for this. This is what I want. And you have to make sure you have all of the support that you need, because there are a lot of challenges that you can have, like with mental health going on HRT, because it's basically putting you through puberty again, which is always not a fun time. So, like, they're going to probably make sure that you have a regular therapist, too. So just make sure that you advocate for yourself, tell them that you're going to be okay, and that you have support, and you're not going to die. Advocate for yourself, and tell them that you're ready, and they will get you on that faster.
So disturbing. This is a 13-year-old telling you how to advocate for yourself to other 13-year-olds so that you can go through this. Did you hear what they said, too? They had to convince the people that they were trans. Okay, all of it is so insane, and all the language. This is TikTok. This is how the 13-year-olds are teaching each other that they're trans enough and how to go through the system, and that you need to advocate for yourself. What does that even mean, kiddo? Do you even understand what you're saying? No, you do not. You're a little girl who somehow is being brainwashed into being not to be a boy, not gender dysphoria. Okay, where's your gender dysphoria after one session? I'm telling you, these kids are being indoctrinated into a thought process of being trans, and that at 13 they're teaching a little girl how to shoot testosterone is mind-blowing and sickening. I am just appalled at this whole trans thing. So here's the kid again. So now I think the audio's a little low, but I'll try to fix it.
10 seconds on T.
10 seconds on T.
Hi, my name is Nico. This video is featuring my mom, and I am now 1 week on T, and this is my scream. Hi, my name is Nico, and this is my scream 1 month on T. Hi, my name is Nico, and this is my scream 2 months on T. Hi, my name is Nico, and I am 3 months on testosterone. That's my scream.
I didn't do this because I was at summer camp, and then I kept forgetting to do this. But hi, I'm Nico, and this is my scream 4 months on testosterone. I can't scream higher than that because my vocal cords are changing. Yay! Bye! Hi, my name is Nico, and this is my voice. 5 whole months on the big T, and this is my scream.
Okay, first off, Nico is driving while they're filming that. Okay, so there you go. That's the immaturity. Secondly, this whole thing on TikTok about my voice 1 day on T, my voice 2 days, screaming, and it's all just a trend. They're worried about, they're talking about their voice and screaming, and that's the most important. Really? That's very immature. And you can see the immaturity here of what's more important to them. And it's become this trendy thing on TikTok where they talk about they're screaming 1 month on T, 2 months on T, 3 months on T, a year on T, and I can't scream anymore. Like, what? Wow. Just wow. Here she is again. This is the third video of her.
Hey friends, if you want to learn more about a gay summer camp and how you can help me attend it, please stick around for just 1 minute. If you don't know me, my name is Nico. I'm a 14-year-old transgender artist from California, and my goal is to attend Camp Brave Trails this summer. For so many people like me, Brave Trails is more than just a summer camp. It's a chance to be and explore your true self and build community with people who are like you when often people like me feel alienated in their own homes. It's also a leadership-based camp, which means granting young queer people the opportunity to have a skill set to change that, to build a future where everyone can be themselves. That's one of my biggest goals, to spread and receive love throughout the whole world. I believe that's why I'm on this earth, and my entire life goal is to make the world a little bit of a better place. Not just for people like me, but for everyone. So if you want to help me pursue my dreams to make the world a better place and just have fun with a bunch of gay people for 9 days, please check out my fundraiser. Love you.
Yeah, send the little 14-year-old to the gay camp. Like, what? And then you need money and you're doing a go. Where's your mom? Can't your mom pay for it? Like, I'm telling you, look at this. It's literally indoctrination. Like, a 14-year-old is going to a gay queer camp to help the world. I guarantee you this kid does not want the world to be a better place and is one of those angry TikTokers who are trans and pushing. I mean, the fact that I'm even talking about a 14-year-old kid is so insane, and I feel like just insane. The parent, shame on that mother. Shame on you. Shame on you. So here they are in the fourth video. How I dress at school. That's how they dress at school. Okay. The little fairy that comes out when I get home. Now dressed like a little girl. You see, this is also a trend on TikTok. This right here. How is that a transgender? How is that a trans man? They're dressing like a punk rocker at school and getting home and dressing up in makeup and hair. What is happening? That is not trans. So why are you going back? If you have gender dysphoria, you don't ever want to look like a girl. Ever. You have no gender dysphoria. Trans is your identity. Why are you taking testosterone to masculinize yourself at 13? I mean, I can see that my anger is now. This is the last video I want to bring to you because this is going to expose why this is happening. This is literally how I'm going to expose it to you. This is really important.
2022, after years of development, SOC8, the version 8, was finally released on WPATH's website. And there were age limits in the guidelines for the hormone treatments and surgeries. Now, many would argue that they were too low, but there were still at least age limits there. And then all of a sudden, the guidelines disappeared from the website. And a new version came up like the next day that had no age limits whatsoever. And WPATH didn't explain why this was. Well, Discovery revealed at least part of the reason why. It's that Admiral Levine, again, a senior HHS official at the time, began pressuring WPATH to remove all age limits from the guidelines. And then AAP joined the party and saying, we will come out against your guidelines if you don't abolish all the age limits on the surgeries and the hormones. And we have emails of WPATH authors going back and forth saying, well, should we really let US politics govern these international clinical guidelines? We feel bad about caving, but that caving is exactly what they did. As a result of that, there are some verifiable falsehoods in the guidelines that remain, again, on their website today. WPATH claims that they followed the recommendations of the National Academies of Medicine for developing guidelines free from serious conflicts of interest. We showed that that's not true. Dr. Marcy Bowers, who also oversaw the guidelines development, said that in Bowers' view, it was important that every author for the guidelines be an advocate for expansive transgender care in WPATH's view. So again, we have guidelines now that are based on these undisclosed conflicts of interest, which raises serious problems. And I think that's how you get to a position where they can use the terms evidence-based and medically necessary in such a loose manner as to be almost meaningless.
Right there. They lowered the age. Okay, all of those people, they have no, it's not based on evidence-based. They don't have evidence. Case, the CAS review, all of it, somehow the Medical Association got connected to this, that crazy, all those crazy transgender adult activists, right? Like Marcy Bowers and the public health trans woman and all of them, that they literally came in with an intention to lower the age standards for WPATH. Remember, WPATH is not medically appointed. It is self-appointed activist, it's an activist organization, but they use this World psychological, transgender, health. They make it sound all official. No, it is not. It's a self-appointed organization of activists. Don't forget that. They are not medic. And Marcy Bowers is the one who works on Jazz Jennings and is the celebrity trans. And that trans doctor is also a whack-a-mole. So, you know, I'm just gonna keep exposing it. I'm gonna keep exposing it. I do not care what any of you trans people think about me. I don't care about you making videos about me and blah, blah, blah. And who cares? Keep making videos about me. Keep putting my face out there. Keep talking about me. Because I guarantee you, the work that we're, all us transsexual adults who care about these young people, we will be on the right side of history. There is no doubt in my mind. I am telling you, I am so on the warpath against all you people doing this to young people. It is appalling and disgusting. So none of this is trans. All of it is activism. It is indoctrination. And I don't know what the end goal of putting these kids on all these hormones is, because it's all going to come back tenfold on all of you. Okay? So with that, thank you all for supporting the channel. Thank you for helping me make these videos. Thank you for getting this message out there. Thank you for caring about these young people, because together, you and I are going to be on the right side of history.
Hello, I am a trans man, as is very clear to see. I got top surgery this summer, and these are my results. And I wanted to talk about a little bit of my experience. Honestly, it's the best decision I've ever made. I never really, hated my boobs before I realized I was trans. So I was like, oh no, what if I'm gonna, regret this or something? But I literally didn't even think about it ever again. And I think that that's the main thing that changed for me, is that I don't really think about it. Not even in a trans way necessarily. It's just, annoying to have boobs. So I feel like that's just one of the main things I've noticed, is it's just easier to exist. Also, I can take my shirt off now, so that's fun. That's basically all I wanted to say, but if anybody has questions about top surgery, please let me know, because I love answering questions about it, so yay!
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel today, and I am so disturbed by this trend of being trans. Not because of identifying as trans. You can just do that. It's clear. You can identify. That's always been a thing. Just be what you need to be. What I am going to discuss today is this kind of stuff. I never really hated my boobs. I didn't know until I was trans. Okay, all of the indoctrination of this is a young female who all of a sudden discovered that they didn't really want to have their boobs because they were annoying, because they were trans, and then just went and literally removed their breasts. And it's just shocking to me that we're letting this happen to a young generation of females. Now, I get called transphobic. People misinterpret what I'm trying to do here. So let me just set the record straight. I am 100% for transition. What I am not okay with is this kind of stuff. When you are identifying as something, you're not going through extensive mental health care, you just want to get rid of your boobs at, I don't even know, this kid is young, and not even understanding what the long-term effects of all of this are going to come back. They're all going to come back. Yeah, I will almost guarantee you all, right now, I'll just bet you $100 that the majority of and I wish it wasn't true, but it's true. They're all going to regret this. They're all going to wake up from this cloud of trans dust that they're under, and they're going to be like, what? Why didn't anybody stop me from doing this? And I'm just appalled that we're not having a bigger conversation about this. Call me transphobic. Say, oh, now you're pulling up the ladder. I am not pulling up the ladder. I'm securing the ladder for the actual transsexual people who do need to do what I do. Okay, I will again keep repeating to you. I am pro-transition for transsexual people who get therapy, understand the long-term effects, and are adults and adult only. Would they let somebody just go cut their arms and legs off if they feel like they wanted to be a beach ball tomorrow? Would they do that? Think about that, because it's literally the same thing. They're just using it under the guise of trans. So the next video I want to show you is, this is the same person, okay? So this This is why this is happening. Watch.
Just got diagnosed with autism. That means that everybody who has ever been mean to me in my entire life has to feel that guilt for the rest of their lives. I am autistic, so that means that you are being rude to an autistic person. I was actually neurodivergent and a minor, so I expect everyone to be sending formal apologies to me in the next 5 minutes.
There you go. That person is autistic, which we know is a high level of these young females who are being diagnosed as autistic and being stuck into a place that they feel that they belong and doing these irreversible. Do I need to keep explaining to you all? Irreversible. I know all of the people who are my subscribers understand that, but if you're new to me here, you are going to see things. And I hope you're new here because you are being told lies about what's going on in the transgender space. And I'm focusing specifically on females who become trans, identified. Trans is not an identity. It is a disorder that you get diagnosis, you go through a long-term health mental health situation, and then you start this medical process. They are literally putting the cart before the horse. They are medicalizing these young females before they even get any mental health care. And I will show you here, I have it all. I really did try to find a storyline here so you can see what I'm exactly talking about. The thing I really am concerned about is so many of these don't look like me. They're not transitioning to look male. They're just transitioning because they hate something about themselves. They do not like themselves. The person just even was like, I don't really hate my boobs, but now that I know I'm trans, I think I hate my boobs. Did somebody tell you that? Who told you that? That in itself is a mental situation going on there. If all of a sudden you decided you hated your boobs when you never hated your boobs before. So watch this.
So I had top surgery a little over a year ago, and I'm looking for some advice from my fellow travelers or anyone who has dealt with surgery scars. Most of my scars, I'm going to show them to you.
Look at that.
Most of them are healing quite well. But on my right side, I'm dealing with this situation. Now, I've done my research and I've tried a lot of different things. I've done the Moderna gel, a different silicone gel, the tape, which I found kind of too irritating. I've been very diligent with my bio oil in the last couple months. A lot of people said that was genuinely the best thing for it long term. I know it's going to be different for everybody and every body, and every top surgery group has a million different answers to this question. I guess I thought I would just pose it here because this is where I talk about top surgery. I love my scars, I do, genuinely, but they're also really itchy, those ones. Thank you in advance.
I love my scars. You see, why would you love your scars? Why would you think it's okay to even have those scars? Wow. I feel like I repeat myself a lot, but I have to because that's why I continue to do these videos. When you transition, you want to assimilate into the world. So when you take your top off, nobody knows that you had top surgery. So you can walk down the street, go to the gym, go hang out with the dudes, just walk a world and you look like a man. Now these young trans-identified females want you to know that they have tops. It's part of being part of the club. It's literally part of the club. And it's like flags, buttons, top scars, you know what I mean? And no nipples. That one had no nipples. I think the first one had no nipples too. That's a whole other discussion. And I did make a video. I should link all of those there. So I also want to show you this person. Does that look like a transsexual man? That looks like a female to me. They're not even transitioning to look male anymore. They're just transitioning to be trans and have no boobs. That's an actual problem, friends. We all talk about the epidemic of bulimia, anorexia, cutting, all of these things always in the female space. This is just that next sort of space that women are pushing themselves against growing up to be women. And why? Why is that? Why is it that there's all of this mental problem about growing up to be female or growing up with your boobs? We have to have the bigger discussion here. So the next one is very important. This one to me is very, very, not that they're not all, but this one.
People that have had top surgery, what are some things that you wish you would have known prior to surgery or after?
Hey Emily, I had top surgery just over 2 years ago, and I'm also a licensed therapist who helps people prepare for top surgery.
glad I found you. My 3 biggest pieces of advice are: 1, rest as much as possible. I know it's going to be so boring and you're going to be like, oh my God, I hate this. Please do it. You only get to heal once. That's what I tell everybody. This is your only time that you get to heal from top surgery, unless you have a revision, and that's a whole other story. But this is your one opportunity to heal, so let's try and do it as correctly and healthily as possible. Number 2 is, please keep your arms down. Even if you feel good because you're still a little loopy and drugged up when you get home, don't even try. Don't even see what it's like. Don't even be like, oh, what does it hurt? No, you're not going to feel it. You're just going to stretch this, where the scars are going to be and where your incisions are. And that is the worst thing you could do. So no matter how good you feel, keep your arms down. And that is to infinity and beyond. Even when you're pretty healed, the best thing to do is keep your arms down as much as possible. It helps with the healing and it helps without to prevent the stretching. Number 3, if you have to ask yourself, should I be doing this? Don't. The answer is no. And we got to ask for help. Have people lined up every day as much as possible, as much as you have access to make sure that you have someone that can help you with even the littlest things. Make sure that you can acknowledge and maybe plan ahead for not being able to reach, right? We're not moving our arms up at all. So anything that is above your chin, you're going to need to make sure it's at arm.
Blah, 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 blah. The reason why I want to show you this is the person asked, is there anything I should know or any of us should know, which is a huge question. When I was looking for certain videos on TikTok, that was really a lot of the young females were asking were, is there anything I should know about top surgery? So this person, who is supposedly a licensed therapist, and I looked and they're a non-binary, they're not even trans, okay? Yet now they're speaking for the trans community. I know, you just wait. You just wait. I got some more here. This person didn't say, well, first off, are you going to therapy? Have you looked into why you want to have top surgery? Have you been going to a therapist and trying to understand what this even means to transition? Never once does it come out of this person's mouth. Just all the stuff to do after the surgery, not before the surgery, not why would you want to do this. This is how they are training these therapists now, to have no pushback, to not have any conversation with this person of why are you even doing this? Let's have a talk. I'm not trying to talk them out of it, but to actually understand, give them a space to say, okay, am I actually doing the right thing? Is this something that I actually need to do? I will guarantee probably every single one of those people never went to therapy to talk about why they chose to do this. I'll guarantee you they didn't. They just went and they did it because the fact that these people have no nipples and massive scars across their chest says to me that they're all rushing into getting these surgeries, which causes a lot of mistakes. And there are surgeons who are doing up to 5, yes, I said 5, top surgeries a day. A day. That in itself should have that place shut down. So this therapist never once questioned, doesn't question, has no desire to question, wants to actually continue to talk these young people into doing things that in 5 years, they possibly could change their mind. And like I said, I bet you $100, so many of these people are going to change their mind. Okay? So I wanted to show you a therapist within this space on some level, encouraging these people. No, don't lift your arms. Don't do this. Get this. Never once, but why? Oh my God, it's so obvious. This one, I have no sound on it because it has music in it, copyright. But I really just wanted to show you, this is disturbing. I'll tell you why I find it disturbing. So here's my surgery insecurities, and I normalize my insecurities. And then showing this insane, that person, little tissue through it, looks a little more proportioned. No, it doesn't. Hypertrophic scarring. It doesn't look normal. Who's ever telling you it looks normal, they're not being honest with you. They're not being honest with you. So they're all gaslighting each other. They're all gaslighting each other to say, this is not, oh no, you look great. Oh no, you look totally great. Oh no, everything about this looks totally great. Look. So where's the top surgery? This is what I wanted to show you. This person actually went and had surgery to remove their breasts. Were their breasts like 5cc double D PQIA, like were they so big that that's the best they could do? Come on. Also, I just remember when I got my surgery, they talk about being overweight. It is dangerous to go under the knife, or now it's like the, well, that's a knife for sure, to be overweight. It actually puts a lot of strain on your heart. Yet here they are just operating on somebody who's clearly overweight. In fact, maybe even touching on obese. And what surgery is that? Because to me, you still have boobs. But there you go with these insane scars. And you're, look at it, just what people, why are young women, these people are all young. Every single one I'm showing you is a young woman.
So tomorrow I am going to be 6 weeks out from top surgery, and I wanted to share some of the things that I'm using for taking care of myself afterwards.
Look at this.
In hopes to help anybody else, and also to get like feedback from y'all as well as what's worked or hasn't worked for you. Honestly, most of the swelling is like down, which is really awesome. The biggest piece is like right here, like this bubble.
Wow.
Is still swollen. I don't know why, it's just on the one side. So any advice for like swelling would be great. As far as working out, I'm doing like cardio, and like I was doing curls, but then I got worried about the scar stretching, so I stopped doing curls, and I'm just gonna do lower body for like 2 months. So if you have any advice as far as like getting back into working out as like a person with like a bigger upper body, without like trying to stretch the scars too much, would be super open to that advice. As far as taking care of my scars, 3 things that I use. So the first is this bio oil. Just like can find it on Amazon. First of all, I love the way that this stuff smells. Essentially what I do is I like put it a little bit above the scar, like a little bit goes a long way, and then I'll massage it. Just kind of doing something really kind of lightweight, like 2 fingers kind of pulling sideways.
You know what I would be interested in finding out is, like, after about a year or so of having these surgeries, as you see, no nipples and these things hanging off of the side, I think back in the day, they called them dog ears. It happens with some people in surgery. It's always been that way. But our surgeons back in the day would go in and do a second surgery to nip and tuck to make it look more natural at that. But how does that look natural? That looks, first off, like a 5-year-old little kid. Okay. Secondly, that person is not masculinizing. There's no masculine. That looks like a girl with no boobs, okay? And this is why I want to talk about this. They seem to be more concerned with removing their breasts than masculinizing. This across the board on TikTok, when I was looking for, there are so many of these. Most of them are non-binary or trans mask, not even transsexual men, okay? That's a whole category there. And those dudes are masculinizing, they're getting surgery, they're living their life as men. That's a transsexual man. But these people are not masculinizing. They still look very feminine. It doesn't seem to bother them. Where's your dysphoria? Is it just your chest? And then now you don't care about looking like a man? I'm really interested to know, like, what are they trying to achieve here? What's the end goal with these young females? And I'm telling you, we all know when you make these kinds of rash decisions at the age of 19, 20, and you get to be 20, don't tell me all of us here, from the age of 19, let's say 18, 19, to the age of 25, did you change your opinion on things? Did you change the way you walk the world? Maybe you even have different likes and dislikes. Maybe even your sexuality might have changed. Maybe the way you feel about your body. Maybe when you were 19, you hated your boobs. Maybe at 26, you're like, woohoo, I'm wearing this dress and throwing off. That happens all the time. A lot of my subscribers are females who tell me that, Buck, if this would have been around when I was 19 or 18, I would have full on did it. A lot of you tell me that. I'm really concerned to wake these young people up, but I don't feel like I'm able to do it because they think of me as transphobic and they think of me pulling up the ladder instead of being concerned with where's the mental health care in this? There's clearly something going on.
I think that coming to terms with having large scars on your body is probably one of the most difficult things ever. Like, I debated top surgery for 3 years just because of my incision options, and it was at the point where I was doing so much cardio, just trying to remove as much breast tissue as possible to be eligible for keyhole. But it's just a fact that only 2 to 5% of people will be eligible for that. So it just got to the point where I really was eager for that freedom that everybody who got top surgery spoke about, and just decided to go through with it and just deal with the emotions after. And what I didn't expect is just this overwhelming sense of acceptance towards my body, like just realizing that these are my scars, this is my body, and this is what I have to work with for the rest of my life. What really gave me a lot of confidence is the fact that the scar lines are very close to the chest muscle, so it looks pretty natural. And just proper scar care, as well as just knowing that I could always opt for laser scar removal in the future if I'm still like unhappy with the amount of redness that I have.
So again, cart before the horse. This person was scared, waited years, then just decided to, okay, whatever, I'm just going to have to deal with it. Whatever, I'm just going to have to accept my scars, even though I don't really like them. No, you don't. You don't have to just accept your scars. That's not the truth. And then prior to this person was obsessed with getting rid of their boobs. Why? Why were you so obsessed with getting? If you could tell me that you were going through years of therapy and you kind of understood, yeah, but I don't think any of these kids are getting diagnoses because you don't need a diagnosis. You need TikTok and other trans people telling you, go for the surgery. It's all over TikTok. Thousands and thousands of people celebrating this kind of stuff. And like, you were obviously scared for a reason, which you should be. Okay. And then now you're just like, I'm just going to have to deal with it. It's what I got. But you're right, because it was your choice to do it. But at the same time, are you in any way, shape, or form looking at why you were scared to do it or what that even means? I feel so frustrated by the whole thing. I actually do. This next one is very important to me. And I'm going to explain to you after why. And I think you'll see why I found this one. Because I sort of wanted to segue into this from all of the things I talked about right now into this next segment here. Because this is where I'm going to show you that this old person that they call me knows stuff. I know stuff. So, too bad. It's too bad that I get called all these names or I'm getting ostracized by a community. No, but at the same time, I don't feel bad about that. I'll be honest with you. I don't. I think it says volumes to what's going on when you ostracize somebody like me or call me names or get everybody to try to cancel me. It says volumes, okay? Because they're trying to shut you up. And I'm too old and have too much time under my belt to take that in a way of insult. It's not an insult to me. It means that I must be doing something right and I won't shut up. So this next one.
Who has detransitioned or a detransitioner is not and cannot speak to transgender experiences. Wow. Their experience is inherently not transgender because they are a detransitioner because they're not transgender. Maybe they thought they were at some point. But here's the thing, they are not speaking to the trans experience because they are not a trans person. And that is the whole point. If you want to understand more about the trans experience, detransitioners are not the people to talk to. They are not trans. Listen to trans people when it comes to trans experiences, especially regarding gender affirming care. Oh, yeah. Gender affirming care was not meant for the people who realized that it wasn't meant for them. And they detransitioned. Quick point of clarity, I'm not talking about the people who were forcibly detransitioned because they could not access care or it was legitimately not safe for them to do so. Do we understand how silly we sound when we are making arguments about gender affirming care for trans people when they are talking about detransitioners? Like, the whole point was that they didn't need that treatment, and when they got it, they realized, yeah, this is not for me. Like, I realized at some point, no. This is so rare, and when it does happen, that is not the evidence to talk about the effectiveness of gender-affirming care for trans people. For trans people. Like, the key word being trans people. Can we see that, please? Can we see it?
Okay, Miss Non-Binary, not even trans, let me just push back on this one. First off, that's a therapist. See? That therapist saying that detransitioners are not trans. Oh, really? But were they trans when they were trans? When you had them under your little umbrella and you were rooting for them to get top, were they trans then? So what's the difference between them being trans then and realizing what I said from the beginning? They changed their mind. Whose fault is it that they changed their mind? Is it your fault, little Miss Therapist, who doesn't do therapy but does indoctrination? Or is it their fault because they didn't get therapy and understand the long-term effects of what was happening? Also, I just love how they always say, listen to trans people. But don't listen to people like Buck or Blair or Marcus or Tory or people who don't toe the party line, right? Right? Listen to trans people means what? What does that actually mean? I'd really love to know, because I have a hell of a lot more time and experience than you ever have, okay? So don't you say that nonsensical little weird, like gaslighty thing. Listen to trans people. Okay, then listen to me. Detransitioners, okay, are 100% under the trans umbrella because you told them they were trans. So what invalidates their transness now? The fact that they realize they're actually not trans? Well, they were trans for, let's say, a year out of their life. So now that year out of their life doesn't count anymore? Are you people insane? You're insane. And I'm just exposing it all. Exposing it all. So now I want to bring this up because I have two really excellent, important ones here.
It was scarily easy to do because I had just called a therapist and I had scheduled one appointment, for like a 30-minute session to talk about it. And I essentially walked in. I said, I identify as transgender and I want to get top surgery. And we chatted for a bit, maybe for half an hour. And at the end of the session, she wrote me an approval letter to send to my insurance. And then I got approved just like that.
When you first started, you went in, you said to Planned Parenthood, they gave you testosterone immediately.
Yeah, I essentially just made a phone call and said, I want to transition. And it was immediately given. I got a prescription and went to pick it up like a week later.
Did they ask you questions? Did they do any psychological testing? Did they ask you why? No. What was your motive?
It was completely self-diagnosed.
You said, I want testosterone, they gave it to you.
Yeah, I had confused, because I had become uncomfortable with how society had seen me as a woman sexually. So I didn't actually have gender dysphoria. I had just confused myself into thinking that I did.
Okie dokie, Miss Therapist. What do you think about that? How is that person not trans? You're the one who told them that. They went in and got self-diagnosed, which you all push. Trans people know who they are. We know who they are. This person did top surgery, did hormones, did it all, and realized, whoops. So don't you dare say detransitioners are not trans. You are disgusting. And how dare you say stuff like people like that person need to, I'll be shocked if they actually have a real license instead of as my parents used to say, did you get your license out of the Cracker Jack box? I'm totally dating myself, but seriously, that's a Cracker Jack license. Wow. So really? Okay. So just so you don't think I'm just doing that, watch this one.
And by the time I turned 19, so it was a pretty quick turnaround, I started taking testosterone, and then about a year after that, I had a double mastectomy. I had top surgery, and I had my breast removed. And then a couple more years after that, I had a hysterectomy. I had my uterus, ovaries, cervix, and fallopian tubes all removed. And that surgery actually didn't go well at all. Something went seriously wrong during that surgery, and they left one of my arteries open, is what I understand about it. And after the surgery, I wasn't recovering well. So they kept me at the hospital.
Did all of that at the age of 19 because they thought they were trans, okay? So there you go. So stop saying this isn't happening, number one. Number two, stop saying that trans people know who they are at 16. Stop saying that these people are not trans when you had them under the trans label when they were doing everything you asked them to do. And the minute they decided that they weren't part of it, they're not trans. Okay, so when were they trans? And were they ever trans? Or are you going to take any kind of responsibility? No, you're not. I watched the way you guys talk about detransitioners, and they never were. They should have never done it. It's their fault. No, it isn't their fault. It's your fault. It's your fault as a community to do this to all of these young people I just showed you. And it's only going to get worse. And I'm going to continue to expose you. I'm going to continue to talk about this and the disgusting display of transgender affirming life-saving healthcare, which is a complete, totally dumbest thing I ever heard of. Okay? The fact that you always put the S word in it, that they're going to off themselves, which is actually not. A lot of people have ideation. A lot. Not just that. That doesn't mean that they're going to go through with it. That means they need actual therapy, not their boobs cut off and slamming hormones. That's like the worst thing you can do. Okay? So when you're diabetic, the last thing you do is give people a 6-pack of Coke. Okay? You get them into an insulin space. You understand. You teach them about it, how they can manage their illness, how they can walk around. You don't just like keep giving them candy and Coke. Like, that's basically what you're doing here. You're giving all these kids candy and Coke, and they're just going to totally destroy themselves. And I'm just so livid about the whole thing, and I want to let you guys know, I can't do this without you. And I really do appreciate you. You hear me, and you see what I'm trying to do here. And I will not be part of this. It is, I'm not going to cry. I said today, I'm not going to cry. Y'all know that. I get very emotional because I care a lot about these young people, and I don't want to be connected to this. And I want people to see that people like myself need this medication. And if I see stuff like this, it just tears my heart out because I know it's like I can just see the outcome of it all. So with that, thanks for liking, subscribing, commenting. I love to read the comments. Thank you so much. Please get this to somebody who might need to see it. Maybe a mom who's dealing with somebody, or a dad who's dealing with somebody who's kind of going through all this. And maybe if they can see this, it might help them to see the future. And that, we just need to get these kids back into some hope of a better future without medicalizing and surgery. Okay.